Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be creating a new library slash proc macro. It's a little bit blurry, I think, for the distinction, and I'll explain a little bit more what I mean in just a bit. But the core concept of the library for today is a few proc macros to extend. In the standard library, there are some proc macros. I don't know of a better way to like just see a bunch of, or see these like just these macros, but there's some macros in the standard library that operate on string literals. So specifically, just going down this list, we've got concat, we've got env, we've got include, I guess include stir, but even include takes a string literal as a path. Yeah, so we have include stir, we've got stringify, kind of turns into a string literal. What else do we have? I think that might be it, but we'll confirm that in a bit. And I want to basically implement some extra macros to kind of work with those that can do things like uppercase a string or convert it into camel case or Pascal case or whatever, like that kind of thing. And then so that's the proc macro side. I want to add things like upper. Here, we can even do this. I want to add upper, which takes some string and converts it into hello world. I want to add lower, which kind of does the opposite. Those are the big ones. What else do I want? I mean, like in reality, there is a, if we look at crates.io, there's a case. I forget exactly what it's called. Yeah, okay, that took a minute. Convert case. This is what I'm thinking of. They've got a large amount of like things in here. I don't think I really care about most of these. Upper and lower I want. Probably camel, Pascal, and snake case. Yeah, this guy. I think those are probably like the four. That's four. No, 5. So camel, probably camel case of like hello world should get us hello world. And then we've got probably upper snake as well. So that's gonna be no. What is wait? I've got there's a Vim bind that I have to automatically make this into snake case. What is it? I thought it was CNS. Okay, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Sorry. So we get upper snake for hello world will give us hello world. Just because constants like that, or like environment variables and that kind of thing. Honestly, most of these I think are what we want. And we can get like the framework set up and then actually just implement these on case by case basis. Get it, case. And then we'll kind of see what it looks like from there. But so yeah, I want to be a proc macro that has this stuff. But then I also want another thing about this is these need to be composable. So I want to be able to say upper camel case. Oh, that's an interesting thing. Instead of doing like we could do upper snake case like this. So instead of having upper snake, we just have snake case. Like this. Yeah, snake case of this is that. And then we can compose them. Although thinking about it, I think I would want to have a dedicated upper snake so that they are nicely composable. Because you could have a declarative macro here, so you could have like a macro rules upper snake. Do I know how to do this? Which takes in like just some type tokens. Like this. You could theoretically do something like this and then have it be upper snake case. And then we just expand. Typing is not working today. TT, honestly, it feels like it never works. Like that. So this is possible. However, the way that procedural macros work, if you wanted to say like env upper snake here, there needs to be handling for this macro. It's not going to do the macro rules expansion here, so we would have to have that handled manually. So yeah, I think we'll keep the upper snake, and we'll basically largely what's happening in here. I think that's fine. Why is my CPU usage so high right now? That's mildly concerning. It's all Rust Analyzer. Rust Analyzer shouldn't even be running right now. Oh, I wonder if it's trying to like load every single project that I have in here. Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff in here. And, I don't know. I guess Rust Analyzer does stupid things sometimes. Hello, welcome to the stream. Anyways, let's get started. So cargo new lib. God, names are hard. I'm just gonna do string macros for now, with the intention of renaming it in the future. And then let's add sin. What else do we need? We need quote. And then I need to remember how proc macros work. Proc macro is true, I think. Let's see. Rust proc macro. Are you gonna... That is exactly what I want. Can I tell DuckDuckGo to like fuck off? Okay, sure. Anyways, back to this. Yeah, so function macro, it's lib proc macro. I was so close. Proc dash macro. Yeah, I've thought about doing some Twitch stuff. I don't really know what the Twitch API kind of interaction looks like. I think the chat is done via like an IRC protocol. But yeah, that might be something interesting to play around with at some point. Oh, we also want proc macro too. Oh, well, that adds everything I need. That's fine. Great. Source lib, and then let's just copy their this guy. I'm surprised this still has extern crate. That hasn't been needed in like 6 or 7 years now, I think. But okay, so yeah, so okay, so let's start off. Let's just do this super simply. Let's add lower, which takes in item. It's unclear to me what item actually is though. It's probably the stuff between the brackets, I think. Let's see. The proc macro attribute may only be I don't care, blah blah blah. Macros. That's not very useful. So that's derive. Make answer just gets a function. It doesn't actually use this item. You know what? So first of all, we can just debug item. And then here we can just say item. So this will, I guess we can say let, how do you do this? You have to say let s is a lit stir equals item.parse. We need token stream 2. And I'd like to do as token stream 2, like that. And then we get stream and stream and stream. I thought it was .parse, but I guess not. I always have to look this stuff up. I guess I literally have a macro here. Source. Oh, and I think I failed to explain this. This is a declarative macro, or sorry, this is a procedural macro that can take some like variable-ish things here, and this is kind of what I need it for. Is it takes a string and it converts it into identifiers that can be used in code, and this is super useful for like setting up tests and stuff automatically. In fact, I've got an example in here where you basically write tests like this, and it generates a test function for each of these test cases. And I basically want the ability to make better names and stuff, and do a little bit of manipulation with them at compile time. But yeah, in here, this is just another proc macro, a function proc macro too. Exactly what we're trying to do. And yeah, so we parse macro input using decals. Which takes a parse stream. Can I do like lit stir dot parse stream dot? It's been a while since I've looked at proc macro stuff. I always forget. I feel like it's just super unintuitive. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like it is. Do I have to implement parse? Okay, let's implement parse. Impl or pub struct string. Not string, that's a horrible name. Literal string. Wait, is this what you do? This isn't gonna work. Parse like that. Expected lit stir found token stream. Wait, what? So this is a parse stream. Parse stream from stream. Is that a thing? Wait, expected parse buffer. I'm so confused. Okay, let's continue this, I guess. Inner is a string. Actually, I guess it can be a lit stir. And we can say impl parse for literal string. Literal string. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. we come back down to our main, can I just use this? Is that a thing I can do? It's called input here. Expected token stream found unit. That's fine. Can I do this? No, I have to do token stream from iter. Into iter. Token stream from iter input. Dot into. We can get it, I promise. Cannot be built from iterator of types element. I think I need to wrap it with something. Oh wait, can I do input dot to? Oh, I can do dot token. Dot to tokens. Dot to token stream dot into. There we go. Okay, finally. Great. Now we need an example. Oop. So we go into examples. We can do like simple.rs, and then we can have our main. And then what do we call this? Lower. So lower needs to be imported. So use, what do we call this? String macros. Oh, that's fine. And then if I debug X here, we get cargo R example simple. It should just say hello. Perfect. Now, if we make this uppercase like that, then we can, in our lib, we can say input dot, how do we get the inner value? Dot parse? No. Dot value dot lower. And then we can lit stir. I guess we can even just let s is this and quote s dot into. Like that. Use quote quote. Like that, and then s here is that. And now, hey, look at that. X is lowercase. So that's pretty simple. We can literally just duplicate this, do upper to uppercase. And now we've got both lower. I guess we can just say lower hello. Or hello uppercase to actually show that it works. And then upper hello to show that that one works as well. And upper needs to also be imported. Bam. So we get lower on hello gets us lowercase hello. Upper on hello gets us uppercase hello. Pretty simple. So now let's add, what is this crate called? Convert case. Like so. And yeah, so now we can add a bunch of things. So now we can also say snake case, which also just takes a string. And we can say to snake case or to case casing case. Oh, it's case snake. like that. And so now we'll find that snake case, hello world. If we import this, and then we run it, we get hello underscore world. So that's all working really well. Now what I said earlier about us being able to do this, about us being able to do this is where an issue comes in. Because now we're expecting a string literal right there. But the proc macro, I think I can maybe potentially do, what is this macro? It's upper. I think I can maybe say debug input. Yeah, so you'll see the input actually gets identifier, punctuation, group, and then in here there's content. So we need to, based on what this identifier is, we need to figure out some code to run, and so that is something that we need to do. Yeah, and ideally we do that in a generic way, so that when we go to implement things like concat and some of the other like built-in macros, we can do so. So specifically concat, I guess, is the only one here that actually, yeah, I think that's the only one that actually matters. Everything else is only accepting a single argument. But I think ideally we allow it to accept multiple arguments, kind of because why not? But we'll have to see what that looks like. So for now, we need to create a method for parsing this. So I think, let's do this. Let's create a struct called a macro call, which has an identifier, which is, it can just be a lit stir. It's got punctuation, but we don't actually care about that. Do we? No, I don't think we need to hold on to that. And then it's got content, which is a vec of token? What is in here? So you got a group, and then you've got a stream, which is a token stream. So it's a token stream. I think probably a token stream too. Oh, and I still need to keep token stream in here. Like that. Okay, and then here we can say impl parse for macro call. Like that. And then we can say macro call is, so ident is going to be input dot parse, and then the content, or I guess we can say punct is input parse, and then here we expect a token exclamation. And then here content is going to be a, what's the issue here? Cannot find macro token. That. And then here we're gonna have content is, so content's a little bit weird. We need to parse a group. Oh, I guess that's it. It's not terribly weird. Group. And we're going to parse that. And then now we've got content. Then we've got content. Just, can you not parse a group? Wait, proc macro 2 group. Did I import the wrong group? Yeah. Oh, yeah. This group. There's a lot of groups. And then we can say content dot string. Like that. And so now we're parsing out the macro call, which is a little bit weird. How does this work? Basically, we need to try to parse a literal string, and if we cannot, or if it is not a literal string, then we need to parse out the macro call. So let's do there's a peak. Let's do this. So this is going to be a pub. It can't be pub, but enum literal string. Or it's not even literal string. This is like an input. I don't know what to call it, but we're gonna probably change that in a bit. You can do text to speech by, what did I do? Bits or subs. I think there might be something else too, but I don't remember. Okay, so input can either be a string, a lit stir specifically, or it can be a macro call. And then we're going to implement parse for this. And then here, we're going to do input.peak. No. What is it called? There is a look ahead. This guy. So if LA thank you for the gifted sub and congratulations, Oleo TV. So LA.peak, and we're gonna peak for the lit stir. Is that might be wrong. Lit stir from sin. I guess we're gonna find out. No, okay, this is right. This is right. So if we get a literal stir, then we're just gonna LA, or I guess we're gonna input. Oh, so let s is a lit stir is input.parse like so. And then input, or I guess okay, input lit stir s. Yes. Yeah. Okay. And then else if LA dot peak ident, then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna take we're not even gonna take the identifier because now we're gonna use instead we're gonna say macro call. And then else we can say LA dot error. Like that. And this look ahead thing is super useful because it'll walk this, and then if you get to this error, it keeps track of these like tokens that you look for, and you'll get like an actual nice error message down here. And we'll see if we can recreate that in a bit. But yeah, so now let's run this. So we parse an input. There's going to be a bunch of weird stuff right now, so let's just quote hello dot into Oh, thank you for the bit. I did, at your recommendation, increase the minimum bits for it to show up on the screen. And I don't remember what the minimum for text-to-speech is, but there is a minimum for that too. Yeah, so now we can just debug the input. And I guess we need to derive debug and derive debug. Litster does not implement debug. Really? Really? Why not? Impl debug for macro call. Oh, no, there's a trait. What is I feel like that should have worked. Did it make a noise and it's just too quiet for me? Okay. Here, let's replay that one.
Does this work?
Maybe even a little bit louder.
Does this work?
Yeah, I can barely hear it, but I do have my system volume really low, so. Is that better for you? Okay, yeah, so let's, there is a way for it to implement debug. I forget what the, there's a feature for it. Printing, great. Oh shit, but who's that feature on? It's on Sin. Debug is not implemented for Litster. Wait. So Litster and AST struct. Oh wait, maybe it's not printing. I could have sworn there was a way to do debug. There's printing, but that might just be for like 2 tokens or 2 string or something.
Cheers. Hope this helps you buy a new keyboard.
Thank you for the 100 bits. And I think I'm gonna be waiting a little bit before buying a keyboard. I just got a brand new one. What is docs.rss? Let's see. Feature flags. Oh, parsing and printing are both default. I don't need those specified. I thought there was I guess let's try just giving it full.
You better freaking purchase a new keyboard.
Not that. Not that either. Sin lit stir debug. Let's see if somebody put that anywhere. Okay, I'll purchase a new keyboard if you do that like 200 more times. And as soon as Twitch lets me like what's the word? Like lets me actually take that money out. Then at that point I will buy a new keyboard just for you. Anything you want. Okay. I don't really know why I just kind of looked this up. This isn't really going to give me anything. That is fine. What is this? Firefox, what the fuck are you doing? Okay, that's fine. We'll just... Yes, I don't care. Okay. Impl debug for macro call.
I hope this helps pay for lawyers to evict that single mother of 4. Glad to do my part.
like that, and then we'll deconstruct this, and then
Did
instead
you
of
hear about the
ident, we're
latest
going to use
Epstein files?
.ident
I think Johnny Crimson is in.
value, and I guess we don't want this there anymore, but it doesn't matter. Oh, does this need? I guess yeah, it does need a reference. That's fine. And then parse is going to take, or not parse, but macro call. That's what we're just looking at. Input is going to be, let's actually do it this way. Convert to manual that. Field is arg0. I guess it's not. It's this dot parse, not to parse, value as reference. And the macro call is like that. Oh my god. I hope this helps pay for lawyers to evict that single mother of four. Glad to do my part. Thank you very much. That will definitely help. Those lawyers are very expensive. Did you hear about the latest? Okay. No, but Bash is in them, surprisingly. Love to see a Bash reference or Bash reference manual in the Epstein files. Yeah, okay, so now we've got that, and we can run. We still have this issue with nested literals. That's fine. Wait. I thought we just fixed that. Upper should parse input. Let's go see what is this example? Expected string literal. Y as input. Litster ident. It should be an ident. Oh, this is not, this is supposed to be an ident.
At zero, Lietv is a liar. He played Fortnite with Jimmy Epstein on the regular.
Yeah, we have an ident. Okay, cool. So all of this, ident has, what is there's a method for getting the, oh, you know what? We don't even need to do this like manual implementation because it is an ident. Debug, that's what it's called. Like that. Okay, yeah, so now we have snake case and upper snake case, and it's parsing into a macro call. So this is the contents of the upper call here, which becomes a macro call of snake case and content. But you know what's interesting? No, that wouldn't work. I'm thinking we could just literally pass this back into the like native parser or the actual compiler's parser, but no, we still have to do this kind of manually. But that's fine. So now we have macro call, which literally just gives us snake case and hello world again. And so theoretically, we can say, and this is kind of bad code right now, but match on input. Not that. Match on that. If we get a litster, then S is going to be this guy. Litster dot value dot to uppercase. And then macro call. This is going to become oh, did we get a hype train? Hype train complete at level 1. Interesting. Cool. I didn't know I had those enabled. Okay, so macro call in here, we're going to switch, not switch, what the fuck?
W hypertrain.
Yeah, I don't
What that is,
really,
FR.
really know what a hype train is. I just know it's a thing that we just had happen, I guess. We're going to match on macro call ident. I really hate that we have to... oh, wait, no, we don't have to. I think there's a way to access the identifier without actually allocating a string for it, but I don't know how to do that. Maybe there's not. Why is there no like just string? And who is this ident? This ident comes from sin. What do we have in here? We've got new, raw, span, and span. How do we get just the string? Impl eq. Partial ord, blah, 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 blah. Parse ord. It's got display. Prints the identifier as a string that should be losslessly convertible back into the same identifier. That's really annoying because that means that we do have to allocate. I don't want to allocate for something that's stupid, but fine. We'll to string, and then in here we can match. So if we get lower, then we're going to say lower on macro call content. And this does actually return a token stream, which is a little bit annoying. But we can just return here. That's fine. And actually, in that case, we can let s as this. And then we can just return that. And then if we get lower, we need to convert this into a string, or a stir, I guess. And content is a token string 2, but it expects a token string 1, so we can say into. And everything else is going to be like an error. Return sin error. I don't remember how to use this. New. The span is going to be macro call ident span. Unknown macro type.
Would you do a mukbang with a shiesty on?
I have no idea what that means. I guess this is to into compiler dot into. And I guess we can remove these returns because we're super cool Rust. Okay, so now, we've got lower, we can do snake case. And then now if we run this, so we get snake case, that part is correct. Oh, actually no, you know what? We can't just return here, or return here, because we still need to make everything uppercase, obviously. So let's actually be a little bit sophisticated about this. And I do really mean just a teeny tiny amount. But what do we need to do? So we need a function that can do something. What can it do? Basically, it needs to take fn macro, do something. Macro, which is going to be, oh fuck, that's a keyword. Macro, which is a stir, and the content, which is a token stream. And then we're basically going to return a send. Do it send have a result? It does. Send result of a token stream. And then here we'll basically put this match. Not even a token stream. It's literally going to be a stir. I guess it has to be a string. And then here we're going to switch on the macro, or I guess match on the macro. And then down here, we're going to say do something using input and upper.
What about a stream where you drink each time you get a compiler
Like so.
error or a seg fault?
And then in here, we're going to quote and just dump it. The trait bound that, yeah. And then we can, so I don't think I can question mark here. And I don't think this can return a send result. So I think we do need to say, is there a way to take basically a result of t and just turn it into a t? Is that a thing we can do? Not here. And here. I don't know that this is. I forget the syntax, but you can do like function signatures in here. I just don't remember how they work. Let's go look at result. Is okay, blah, blah, blah. All of this stuff. Unwrap, expect, into okay, into error. Oh, where, okay. Maybe not. Oh yeah, I guess actually just the pattern matching should be able to handle that. You are actually maybe correct. Okay, T or error E or T, I guess also. Oh, but these aren't actually the same thing because this is an error. Never mind. That's fine. So we'll T there, and error will be to compile error. Into compile error. Maybe not. Oh, because that's wrong. Into compile error, into, and then we can do the quote here. That's an S, and that's a match. Cool. And then this is something we can also probably just write a simple wrapper for. No, I cannot rename this function. I'm sorry. The name of this function actually determines what the proc macro does. That being said, we can do pub function Eric. There you go. Oh, it can't be pub. There you go. Great. So yeah, so in here we've got some other weird stuff to do. So do something should take lower, and yeah, we can flatten that, I think. And this can actually take a token stream too, because we're sufficient. No, it probably shouldn't. Content.into and a question mark. No, not a question mark. Ah. Why are you not happy? Oh, because macro call doesn't exist. Right, we need to actually parse the input. And then say let input is parse macro input. Basically this. And then this is going to be input dot Right. Okay. So this needs to be match on input. And then, nope. Come on. What is input? Input is wait. Why is it? Oh, no. This needs to be an input. Like that. And then we get a lit stir. If we get a string, then we're gonna say lit stir value to lowercase. And if we get a macro call, then we're going to say do something. Macro call dot ident to string, and macro call content dot into. And I think this will be moved to like an eval sort of function in a bit. But then we get a string, and we can do s dot to lowercase, like that. And then this doesn't need to happen. Okay. This can be a borrow. This type is found to be result. That can be a question mark. No. Wait. Something here is wrong. Oh, right. This part is wrong. That's fine. So we can do that. If we get nothing else, then we can say yeah, this part is a little bit weird because we don't necessarily know what the span is. I think there's a way. I mean, so in reality, this can't happen. Unless you are using nested macros, in which case we do know the span. What is new span? What is the difference? This constructor takes an argument tokens. I see. I want a function as well. My name is Jeremy. Okay. We'll give you a function. Jeremy. Perfect. Great. Yeah, okay. What is the issue here? So this is expecting result string error, but found struct token stream. Right, because parse macro input returns a token stream. What does this even do? Literally nothing. This is just input is input dot parse. Oh, but it can't do that, of course. Jesus Christ. Parse macro input. Use associated function syntax instead. What? Oh. Token stream from to compile error. Syn parse input. There. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Now that's done. We still need a span here. That's the weird part. I'm almost inclined to just have span be an option span. Can I do if let sum here? That'd be really cool, but yeah, okay. That's fine. We can do macro span. Ignore it there. This sum span. So if we have a span, we'll report an error. If we don't, just temporarily, we're gonna ignore it, which is not quite ideal, but it's fine. And then here we're going to say this is an error, like so. Great. Here we need to put the span, which is going to be macro call ident span, and then sum of that. Great. Non-exhaustive pattern, because in the case of none, here I'm going to unreachable. Because here is the only place we specify none, and we know that upper exists, which is really funny because it doesn't currently exist, but we're going to make it exist. Upper. And all that it does instead is call to uppercase. Uppercase. There we go. Fantastic. What else? I guess now we just duplicate this for lower. And then we duplicate this again for snake case. And then, let's see here. For snake case, we're going to do 2 case. Fuck, what's it called? Snake case. I'm being stupid. Duh. Snake. And then we have to do that again. Down here. And yeah, obviously there's a lot of repetition happening here, but we're going to fix that in a bit. Just want to get a basic example working. Which I think we have. Have you come across Faster Than Lime's recent war on Sin? No, I have not, actually. I don't know who Faster Than Lime is, but I don't know. I don't think Sin is that bad. It's not great. I think proc macros in general are just kind of wacky. I guess that a large part of that is Sin. But the API itself is not exactly fantastic at the moment. But okay, we've got nesting working. So if I reopen this, you'll see it actually is okay. Can I expand this? So I can inline macro on this upper, and it... Oh no, it does it on the debug. That's annoying. Yeah, it's trying to expand the debug. I can't do that using Rust Analyzer, unfortunately. That is okay. You know what? Let's actually take like a 5-minute break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Maybe. Yeah, we're back. Okay. Don't panic. It literally says so on the screen. Come on, people. Anyways, yeah, so we have this. We've got these, like, more basic ones, but you also notice, if I were to say, like, the music shouldn't have stopped. OBS still shows it playing. If we were to say env, like, cargo target dir, it's gonna fail because it doesn't know what this macro is. Did you just ping like a random person? A random person who created their account in 2009. Why can't I drag this window? Come on, Chatterino. Anyways, yeah, so we need to actually implement the native macros. But before we do that, let's clean this up a little bit. So I didn't say this already, I think, but I want to also make this be. So I said I wanted this to be a library, in the sense that I want a function that you can call, and it will do, I guess, do this something. Need to come up with a better name for it and a nicer API. But I want it to be kind of similar to another crate called macro string, which does sort of what we're doing here, except it is literally just the built-in macros. So concat, env, and those. And that's what I'm currently using in the ident_stir crate. Where so that I can actually use like stringify and that kind of thing inside and like nested form. But I want to offer a similar API where you can just like parse it like this. But I don't want it to be exactly the same because I want to still be able to get the span. Actually, you'll notice that there is exactly one issue in this repository, and it's that you can't get the span of the macro that you're like expanding, which is a little bit annoying for like good error messages. But other than that, this is a great crate. I just want to have the extra functionality of lower and upper. And in order to make it so that somebody using this library can add their own, add support for their own, for their own macros, I want to add some sort of system for registering new macros to be expanded, and effectively just adding it to this match statement. And to do so, I'm thinking we use something like inventory, which is a crate by David Tolnay, I think. David Tolnay, which gives you sort of like a plugin system to be used with a library. I've never messed with it, but it seems like it would kind of be perfect for what I want to do. So we're gonna see what that looks like, but we're gonna hold off on that. When will Twitch let you have your money so you can buy another yacht? As soon as I get affiliate, which has some requirements. What is it? What are the requirements? So I need to stream for like more than 4 days in the last 30 days, which isn't a big deal. I think I need to be more than 4 hours in total. I needed 25 followers, which I currently have. I got that like before we started the stream yesterday. And then something like 4 concurrent viewers or something for like on average, or at least 4 viewers on average. But I think I don't know what that progress looks like, but I think those are the requirements. But yeah, so inventory is something that I want to try to build with the intention of integrating. I'm not going to integrate it right now. That probably won't even happen on this stream because that's a little ways off. But I would like to do that. I think it would be cool. But for now, let's make this a little bit more generic. Not generic in the like functional generic sense, but more like so we don't have a bunch of copy pasted garbage. And so honestly, like this is like this entire function here is just a body or a body. It's effectively just a map, a lookup table from this string to this function. I think. Like I don't see that is incorrect observation. So like I think let's see. So I want to, on a macro call, no, on an input, I want to say impl eval, or no, that's not how you do this. Impl input, and then I want to, what the hell? I want to have pub fn eval. Thank you for the gift subs. And welcome, Kono sub a life. Sub a life? Yeah, so an eval function, which takes in self, and it I don't think it needs to own, and it will return syn result string. Like this. And then we're going to match on self. And, oh, eval also needs to take in effectively just a hash map. And I guess this will be the macros. So this will be a hash map of, I mean, really it's a string. And we can even be super fancy and be like, hey, it's a static string. Or like a static stir. And what is it going to map to? It's going to map to, I mean, I guess for now, we can just say it's a function which takes in a string, and it returns a string. What do we think of Holy C? Holy C is a great language. I've never used it. That's a potential stream idea. Let me add that to the list. Pretty sure Holy C only works within the VM, which is a little bit annoying, I think.
Have you added my go-to
You're
Shasty
cringe
mukbang
for
idea
using
to the list?
Vim. Real programmers use Emacs. I don't use Vim. I use VS Code. Okay, yeah. So eval is going to take just the list of macros. And if we get a lit stir, we're just going to return lit stir dot value. And actually, I don't want it to return a string. I want it to return a. Can I have it return a lit stir? Can I create a new lit stir over like a span? What the hell? New over a string and a span. Yeah, we're gonna return a lit stir. Oop. Dot clone. Dot okay. Great. Have you added my goated Shiesty mukbang idea to the list? I still have no idea what that means. What is Emacs? Emacs is like a knockoff of like VS Code. Comment on current world politics. Yeah. No comment. Great. So macro call has some stuff in it. Do we have like a spanned or something trait? I don't know. Impulse span. Spanned? Can provide the span of complete contents of the syntax tree node. I don't know if that really counts for this, but we're gonna do that. For macro call. Oh, nope, it's sealed. Great. Impl macro call pub fn span Oh, and it needs to do a token stream because we cannot construct a span, which is really, really, really annoying. I don't use VS Code. I've moved on to the 15th AI fork of it. Cursor is king. What is the hot new AI tool these days, or AI programming environment? 2 tokens is not implemented. Oh yeah, that's the thing we can do. Impl 2 tokens for macro call. Great. And then this will be tokens dot append ident append all. No, it is append, and it's from token stream ext, and we can clone that. That's fine. And then in this case we do we need both the punct, which is like the exclamation, and I guess we can just say like group here. Token, wait, send blah 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 does not implement debug. Fine. Great. Okay, and then we're gonna have just the group be a group, and then content is just gonna be content, or it's gonna be group, and the punct is gonna be this guy. Ident is gonna be this guy, and then this guy is gonna be that guy, like so. Like so. Yeah, there we go. Fantastic. And then this is going to be group. And then that way we can say for 2 tokens, it's literally ident, then punct, then group. Consider removing this method call as the receiver. 2 tokens. And I guess we should probably do that for here and for here. Thoughts on the Primogen? I don't really watch his content. I've definitely seen some of it, or like come across some of it, but not quite my style, I think. So I don't really know what his like takes or anything are. Real programmers use PowerPoint to program and build their PowerPoint compiling tool. Wait, can you use whatever like Microsoft's like Excel programming languages? Is that Visual Basic? Whatever like the programming is in Excel, can you use that in other like Office products? Because if you could, then theoretically you could in fact program what's it called, PowerPoint. Here's a thing for NeoVim to integrate cursor. Copy link. Jesus Christ, 17,000 stars? What does this look like? Yeah, see, I don't get this. I don't understand that. How do I downvote a GitHub repo? Okay. Great. Let's see. So we've got spans for macro call. Right. So in here, back to where we were. Definitely got distracted. So macro call has an ident that has a name, which unfortunately we have to allocate. I want to see though, what does this do? Self inner is an ident. Proc macro ident. Oh my god. Symbol. Which is this. I feel like eventually it's just going to end up having a reference to a string. Wait, what? It calls... Oh, it calls display on this. Okay, I'm getting distracted. Let's get back to where we were. Anyways, toString, we get... so we're going to say let macro is macro... Of course. Is macros.get based on this string. And that gives us an optional function. Expected that. There's another error here. Stir borrow is not. Okay, so one problem that I did just think about is that this is expecting a single stir. So this is a macro that takes exactly one argument, which doesn't work if we've got something like concat, which takes foo, bar, and baz. So that's something we need to figure out. Right. What happens if you use like just in Rust in general, if you were to say env? Env takes one or two arguments. Wait, what is the second argument? Is that like a default? You can customize the error message by passing a string. Oh, okay. Great. Yeah, let's... Instead of making this be a stir, let's make this be a slice of stirs. That seems reasonable. No, a slice of string, I guess. And then this can, instead of just returning that, it can return a syn result of string. And then this way, this function can take arguments and it can return if there's an error. Yeah, so, okay, so if let some macro is this macro, then we're going to do this. Or I guess then we're going to do this. Otherwise, we're going to do this error message. And then in the case of this, so if we do get that macro, then we need to parse the input. But how are we going to parse the input? Or wait, what even is the input? Input here is going to be macro call.content. And let's just create a method on here. Or we don't really need that. We can say group content, or wait, what's it called? Stream. Right, so this is a token stream, but we can't .parse on a token stream. How do I... Okay, you know what? We'll come back to that. And then input gets us that, and then here we need to actually do something with it. So in this case, we don't... Hold on, let's format this. Why do we have a syntax error? Where is our syntax error? Oh, maybe we... Wait. Yeah, we have a syntax error. Oh, down here. Let's just comment this out for now. Okay, great. Now we have formatting again. So in this case, we end up with a string, but we need a lit stir. So this is gonna be lit stir new. You know, it is a little bit weird to have this be returning a lit stir. I think I want to keep these separate. So this is going to return a string and a span. Although we can't return a span. God damn it. I really don't like that we can't manually construct spans. That's fine. We'll keep doing a lit stir. And then this takes in the span here, which is going to be... All right, wait, there's a new span? Is that a thing on here? No. Span. How do we create this span? So our source here is the macro call. .to token stream. .span, like that. Like so. Okay. Yeah, okay, that seems correct. The questionable part comes in here, where we need to parse the input here. So here we've got macro call dot group. Wait. I've gone and confused myself again. This really shouldn't be so confusing. Why am I getting so confused by this? What is this? This is a delimited. Is that what it's called? Delimited? No, maybe not. Docs.rs set. Or is it like a list or something? There is like a comma separated structure in here. I just forget what it's called. There's type tuple punctuated. Punctuated. This, which has input and token of comma. And then here we can say, wait, how does punctuated not implement parse? Parse the tokens of the source code. Doing that. Oh, there's parse 2. Fantastic. This naming is fantastic. Like that, but it still doesn't implement parse because we need to say parse terminated. I don't know if there's like a parse with. Let's see. So can I just like inline this function? What do? You call parse parser parse 2. This is horrifying. Parse parser parse 2 with this parse terminated. Like that. Beautiful. Okay. And then here we've got punctuated, where we can say input map iter map. Can I into iter map the input into this thing? Although I guess if we want this to be fallible, let's let mutvec is a vec with capacity of input.len. Yes. And then here we can just say for input in input. What is this? We're gonna do this, and then finally we're gonna say vec push these values. And then here we need to do something different. And so this is the case of we have concat something and like upper foo, like that. So that this is this case, and we're parsing this guy. And so I think it's okay to say macro call.eval. Wait. Wait a minute. Am I being stupid? Wait, we have eval on input. Yes, I am being stupid. Input.eval. Over macros. Which gives us the string, or the string. Jazz Lo-Fi makes the stream nice. Yeah, it's not bad. What is wrong here? What does eval give us? Send result. So that should be fine. Mismatched types, expected enum, stood result, blah, blah, blah. Found unit type. Oh, because this for loop doesn't return. Great. So here, what do we do? What do we do indeed? We say, based on this macro, we want to pass in vec and do this. So that this is the completed string. And then we're going to say, okay, let's stir new with that string. And then the span here is going to be macro call span. Like that. And this needs to be borrowed. And this is macro call span. Like so. And then this needs to be vec push. And then this needs to be, what is this? So vec is a vec. Right, we don't care about the rest of the details. Okay, that actually might just be it. Finally. Great. So now we need to actually construct that hash map. So pub fn map. And for now, we'll just do this. I don't think there's a constant way to construct a hash map at the moment. And that is something that I kind of wish we had in Rust, is like instead of being able to, or instead of just having this take a hash map, it'd be nicer if it had, or if we had traits for collections. I think there was some work being done on this. Collection traits. maybe not. I thought there was an RFC for it. Collection convention? Yeah, I don't know. But like, so we could just say, I want any sort of hash map, not necessarily, or I want any sort of key value pair, not necessarily a hash map. And that way we could do things like, what's it called? Like perfect hash map or perfect hash function, PHF, and that kind of thing. Have I thought about doing a gaming stream? Not really. I don't really do a whole lot of gaming personally. Closest I think would happen is I'd do like a game development adjacent stream. So like, I don't know, like Minecraft plugin development or maybe even Hightail plugin development. But I don't do a whole lot of that. So we'll have to see. Okay, yeah. So anyways, this map is going to do, let's create a type def. Macro map is literally this. And then here, we're literally going to return a macro map. Macro map. And then this can be macro, or I guess, yeah, macro map from iter. And it's going to be, so let's implement what we have right now, which is going to be lower, which takes in, okay, yeah, so this is going to take in our strings, and we do need to be able to, we need to say s.len. Why are you not giving me, okay, s.len. If it is 1, then we're good. Otherwise, we need to error in some way. To do error. And then S here. Oh, I guess from iter doesn't like that, does it? That's really annoying. What is S? Because S is this like macro function. Let's say macro body is this guy. And this is a macro body. And this way we can say that S here is a macro body, which is just a function. Great. No. Shit, wait, no. S is not a macro body. Okay, fine. We can just say S is a slice of strings. Type mismatch resolving that into that. Expected due to that. Great. That's because we haven't done this part yet, which is if we have just one, then we're going to say S dot to lower, or S at 0 dot to lower case. And this can be, can I convert this with a match? Not really. We can say S, and then we can say everything else does this. And this is going to be okay. And then some sort of syntax error because this needs to be S. Great. What is the issue now? Type mismatch versus blah. I expected tuple that found closure. Okay, so yeah, we do need to get this error. This is gonna be error. So what happens if you say I guess env, or you know what, let's, instead of having this be a sin result which requires the span, let's have this just be a result which takes a which has an error of a string. And then here we can map error S to be sin error new over macro call span and s, like that. And then what is the inner? Anything that has input display. No, that's fine. We'll stick with strings. So then here we can just say error that expected 1 argument. Okay. We still have a type mismatch. What is this issue? Expected tuple. We should be able to use a closure body here instead of actually using like function or like the fn keyword. But let's try the fn. Maybe it's. I thought you could. Am I losing my mind? I might be losing my mind. I definitely thought you could do this. Let's do that. Okay, we still get the type mismatch. Maybe now we'll get at least a slightly better error. Oh. It's because it wants a static string and it doesn't know that this is static. Also, that can't be pub. That's fine. This doesn't need to be static. But it does need to have a lifetime parameter. Expected tuple that. Found that. Wait. Expected tuple this. Got with a function. Found tuple this with a function. But also with map : x. What the hell? Okay, let's try this way. Macro map new. Maybe for some reason the from iter is causing issues. Oh, fuck. What? Okay, it's not impossible that the from iter is just kind of weird. But also now we should be able to just do that because now the type is known. Okay, that seems fine. And then here we can do a macro call. Fuck, we really can't. We basically have to do this body manually. No, we don't even have to do that. We just have to parse the input manually. That is completely fine. We have to do this basically. Like that. Perfect. And then this is going to be that. And this is going to be input. So let okay this. Otherwise, we have an error, which actually means I guess we need to match. Can I just replace let else? Yeah, beautiful. Then in this case, we have an error. And we're going to say e dot into compile error, and we'll return that. And this can also be converted into like a helper function in a bit. But yeah, okay, cool. So we do that. Then we have vec of the inputs. And we're going to evaluate using macros, which in this case is going to be map that we pass by reference. And then this question mark. Actually, you know what? Let's make this our helper already. So this is going to be FN like impl. Although impl is a keyword, so we can't use that. Implementation. That's too many letters. Inner is going to take. What is it going to take? So it's going to take the token stream. And it's going to take. I guess just the macro body. And it's going to return a token string, I guess a SYN result of a token stream. That way we can do this. And then we can do this. And then, yeah, so span here is a little bit weird. Because, like, what is the span? Let's also, no, actually, you know what? Here we'll just do input.span. That should be fine. But it's trait bounds we're not satisfied. Which is required by that. Does input need to be spanned? Is this not? It's not. Yeah, okay, we need to impl. I gotta swap to Kitty? No, I will never swap to Kitty. I'm very happy with Alacrity. And I don't need the bloat that is Kitty. Impl 2 tokens for inputs. So match self. And then we're going to say lit stir 2 tokens. And then we're going to say macro call 2 tokens. That. But Kitty gives you pictures in the terminal. I know, and that's exactly why I won't ever use it. Okay, so what now? So in the inner, down here, we need to say quote. Gotta have your tux in the terminal. Okay, cow say f tux hello. There we go. Look at that. That is tux in the terminal. Isn't there like a neo fetch for tux as well? I think there is. I don't care to look for it though. S dot into. And S here is a string, so perfect. What are you unhappy about? Borrow of moved value input. That's fine. Let input span is input dot span. And then this is going to be input span. I mean, yeah, okay. I do actually generally use fast fetch, but like it's Wait, can I do just like fast fetch dash L tux? No, I cannot. Great. Anyways. When are you going to swap to the good side Hyperland? I probably won't ever use Hyperland. If I do eventually switch to Wayland, it'll be to like Sway. Because Hyperland is also like way more stuff than I want. Okay, so we've got this inner. That should all be fine. Here we can say map. And like in reality, we don't actually have to generate the map for the, or I guess we do still have to make the map. So we can say let map is map. Although wait, how do we get the macros in here? Oh, no, we definitely don't want to call map every time. We want to say macros is the macro map. And I guess this can own it if we want to be super cool. And that way we can just say inner takes map, and we know we have lower. And arguably that could be replaced with like a named function, but we can figure that out later. Genuinely don't understand if people stand animations in a window manager. Yeah, I agree. I think there was a short period of time where I did like fade animation when I switched workspaces or something. But that was like maybe a week, and then I was like, nah, I can't deal with this anymore. So like now everything is instant. It's the ricing community, not really practical. I mean, yeah, I think I just generally agree with that. Ricing can look nice, but it's not very effective. At least to me, like translucent terminals and that kind of thing, I just can't work with them. I just like the noise behind the terminal makes it really hard to do things in it for me. But yeah, okay, so we have input, and finally we have the map. And what does this give us? This gives us a send result. Can I into, like, it'd be really cool if they just had like a 2 token stream on here, but I don't think they do, which is fine. We can match on here, and we get the value, which is, I guess, just a token stream. And really, we can do token stream 2 because why not? And then we don't have to do the N2 here. And then we put the N2 here, I guess, because why not? And the error is going to be E into compile error. Great. So now, once we copy this into here, we say upper. You know what? Let's do macro rules impl macro. Say name is an ident, and we're gonna say this. We're gonna say name, and we're gonna say stringify name. Wonderful. And now we should be able to say impl macro lower and upper and snake case. And we're good. Or not. Okay, proc macro panicked. That's my favorite thing to happen. Where's the panic message? No entry found for key. Oh, duh. We never did that. Excuse me. So lower is that. Upper is to uppercase. And what is this? Snake case is 2 case snake. Like that. Okay, so now we still don't have env, but we are getting closer. I use Hyperland on the personal laptop for maximum Linux cred, but I do just use i3 on my work laptop. i3 is objectively better than Hyperland. Yeah, okay, so now we need to implement the env macro, which should be fairly straightforward. So if we get just one, then we should say, how do you get an environment variable? Standard env var. Which gives us, yeah, that. So we pass an s to pass in the name of the variable. And then, what does this give us? That gives us a string, which is what we're expected to return. So we can do that. And we can say map error to be something. And what is that something? So if I say env, this var does not exist. What does this do? Syntax error. Great. Environment variable that not defined at compile time. Great. Format. Environment. Let's just copy this. Wow, that is not working. That. Environment variable this. Not defined at compile time, use this to read the variable at runtime. Beautiful. And you can go away. What happens if you do like a poorly formatted one? Okay, it gives the same error. What happens if you put a backquote in here? This, oh, okay, so instead of, it doesn't actually print the string, it prints the token, but that's fine. Well, so ours is technically slightly incorrect, but that's okay. Yeah, and then we also have a case or 2 arguments. What happens if I say not set hello world? What do you actually give? It just says hello world. Like that. Perfect. Right, this is giving us a string. We can make this be owned. I think that's fine. If instead of doing this, we say it's a box slice. And then here we need to say into boxed slice. Expected an array or slice found box. Really? You can't pattern match on a box slice? Okay. That's really annoying because I don't want to have to allocate it, but it's fine. Let's just allocate because it's easier and it doesn't really matter. To string. Or I guess into is probably a little bit nicer. Did I not? Oh, no, I didn't. This guy is a slice. Oh, and we can also get rid of this. Great. So now we have E and V. And that's just that. Let's get rid of all of these warnings. We can actually, let's move these to examples. Actually, you know what? We can even just do super sophisticated and have testing. It's crazy. And this is just going to be assert upper hi Jeremy is hi Jeremy. Actually, I don't know that you can put, yeah, you have to do actual integration tests. So we'll do that, I guess, right now. Tests. Great. And this is going to be, what is it called? String macros. And then we'll do, I don't know if snake case works on this. So if I said hi Eric, do I get hi Eric? Could not compile. Environment variable not found, not defined at compile time. What? Wait, environment variable not found, not defined at compile time. Huh? Wait, what? What? Oh, this is S. We don't actually care about the error. Environment variable target dir is not defined at compile time. Is it not? Really? What is a... We've got what? Crate name? Cargo crate name? Unknown macro type. Okay, no, that's just Rust Analyzer being stupid. Yeah, that was a really, really good error message. It definitely said multiple times what the issue was. Okay, and actually I want to, that's not even what I wanted to do. Cargo R example simple. So it's the uppercase version of the crate name. Perfect. That is actually really good. If I do tests, we do that. And let's just, let's say use string macros, everything. Like that, and then we can assert equals, I don't know, is it going to be called main? It's also not running that test. Why not? Oh, because they're not annotated with test. Cargo T. Great. And then just for sanity check, we should do that. And just to be sure that we're using ours. Oh, no, ours doesn't exist. So that's fine. Great. Cool. And then now if we go back to the lib, we can implement some of the other functions that exist. Let's see. I'm going to use this list here because this kind of says everything. So concat should be fairly straightforward. Takes the strings and does join. Fantastic. Stringify. Oh fuck, Stringify's not gonna work. I didn't even think about that one. Stringify is a little bit of a special case because it needs to call 2 strings on the token stream. So let's skip that one and we'll come back to it. env we've already done. Include. So include reads a file and then parses that, or I guess lexes that file and puts those tokens in the current location. Which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense unless the file contains literally just a string literal. So I'm actually gonna also skip that one. Just because like I don't see a case where you would prefer to write a string literal into a function rather, or like into a file. Like say you have like a build, like a build file, a build.rs. I don't see a case where you'd prefer to put a string literal in there rather than writing a plain text file and using include stir. So we're just going to implement include stir. Let's go to the documentation. Does it have, where are we? Here. Does include stir somewhere right there have, okay, so it just accepts the one expression. Wait, is it defined as a macro rules? No, it's a compiler built-in. Okay. File is blah, blah, blah. File is located relative to the current file. The provided path is interpreted in a platform-specific way at compile time. So, for instance, the invocation with a backslash would not compile correctly on Unix. Okay, this macro will yield an expression of type static stir, which is the contents of the file. Right, okay, that's fine. So we need include stir to take in the path. Also, this needs to be updated. So env is that, I guess it doesn't need to be updated. So environment variable, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, we're not doing environment variables anymore. We're gonna say path. So it's literally just gonna be standard fs read to string path. Map error. If I did include stir foo, could not read file that, no such file or directory. I'm not gonna do this like hint, that's just a little bit annoying. I don't think it's worth it. But I will do could not read this. So could not read path. No, thank you. Path for this reason. And I guess literally it's just that. This does end up being a little bit weird with the location, because it needs to be relative to the current file. Is there a way within proc macros to get the current file? Rust proc macro get current file. Span call site. Okay, let's do this. Let's say debug this. Like that. Just to see if that actually does what we want. So if I said debug include stir simple.rs. And we did cargo R example. Okay, well that was kind of annoying. Wait. Maybe it already does that. Or it already like sets you to be relative to the current file. If I did like ... it doesn't matter. There's a file with the same oh. That's why. This needs to be like using our macro system. Cannot read that no such file or directory. That is fine. Also, this needs to be format or what is it called? Display. And call site is that. What does this say? Source file. Source text. Oh, wait, what is this? Had the same problem, found that Rust added a new experimental API. God damn it. Everything is experimental. The problem here is that this is executed at compile time and not at runtime. Thoughts on people code? I don't, you know what? I've never actually looked at people code. People code. What is this? What does this stuff look like? This is a random thing. This is not people code. Okay. PeopleSoft people code. What does this stuff look like? Is this people code? Oh my god, this is awful. Honestly, it's not too bad, but like, how does this look like Java? This doesn't look anything like Java. It looks like, wait, is that a semicolon after a function like declaration? Look at some COBOL. Okay. Also, wait. Is this like, do you have to use this editor when you're doing people code? Because like light mode is sad. That's awful. Also like Windows 7. Windows 95. Wow, there's like not a lot of just, hey look, you can use what is this, VS Code. Wow, look at all this lovely COBOL. I don't have as much of an issue with COBOL because it's a classic. Wait, is people code like owned by or PeopleSoft? PeopleSoft. Is that owned by Oracle? Successor. Yeah, people code is not pleasant to look at, I think. What? Go away. Do we have file here? Local file. Path to the source file in which the span occurs on the local file system. Wait, wait, wait. Almost. Local file. This is literally what we want. Okay. Path new around this join with path. Like that. Great. And then here we have a reference, and then path buff does not implement display. That's fine. So this is the like full path. Trait bound option. Wait, is local file optional? What does it mean for it to be optional? Okay, or, and we'll just say like error, or the sin error. Where the error is going to be something simple like unable to get local file. I don't know when that would occur. If you import error. New. Oh, and it needs a span, which is going to be... Oh, wait, no, we just return a string. Great. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Now, theoretically, if we go back to our examples, this should compile. But not quite. Let's see, what is the path that we look at? Of course, we need a reference because reasons. Example simple RS. Right, we don't want to actually do it in here. We want to do it in the parent. I can't unwrap. What if we canonicalize and then we unwrap? Also, what does parent do at the... Oh, parent at the root is gonna... Parent at the root will return none. Will it? Wait. What do you say? If the path terminates in a root or prefix, or if it's the empty string. Okay, so parent unwrap or dot. Great. Now if we do it, then we get the actual implement, or the actual file. So use string macros, blah blah blah. Everything is super lower or super uppercase. Okay. Yeah, I think that's actually like the core of this done. Let's see. I still want to do this. So let's take like a 5-minute break and then let's add inventory. But yeah. Okay. So be right back. Okay. That wasn't 5 minutes, but it's fine. Great. Yeah. So let's look at this inventory thing. Although wait, there was the other aspect of trying to make this a library. What is more important? Let's do inventory. I think that'll be more interesting. And like honestly, this just seems like a cool concept. So basically, you have within the core library, you've got like whatever structures you need, and then you use this inventory collect, which kind of collects all the plugins. And then on each plugin, you use the submit macro that will plan for it to be run or plan for it to be like added to the list whenever it starts. And then it does some like weird constructor magic stuff that I don't, or I haven't fully like looked into it. But it does some magic to make it work. And it just seems like a super interesting concept. And I think it'll kind of work really well for this. There is a link here for the link me crate, and I don't know what the distinction is here. Distributed slice function elements. I think this is similar, but not really what we want. So let's do this. This. So let's cargo add. What's it called? Inventory. 3.21. Okay. When was this last updated? 2 weeks ago. So then in here, we're going to have some sort of structure. Why are you highlighted? I don't know. We're going to have some sort of structure, which is going to be the, basically this. So we're going to say, struct function body. Or function, no, macro, which is going to have a name, which is a static stir. And it's going to have a body, which is, it's a macro body, but I want to, yeah, I want to be explicit about this. So that it shows up properly in documentation. So it's going to be that. And then here, we can say inventory collect, which associate a plugin registry with a specific type, with a specified type. This call must be in the same crate that defines a plugin type. Okay, let's just keep going with this. And then we're gonna come back to this. Am I able to use? Yeah, okay. Plugins can be registered by the same crate that declares the plugin type, or by any downstream crate. So yes, I can use submit to do this, which I think might be interesting. Yeah. Anyways, in here, we're basically gonna use this loop, which says macro. For every macro, right, macros used, we can just do m map.insert m dot name m dot body semicolon. And then I can generate a new. That's very nice. Yeah. And then that could be pub. Great. Very, very great. Oh, okay, so it can't be pub. This is a weird thing about proc macros is you cannot have public things in them. Fuck, that's gonna be a bit of a pain. How do we get around that easily? We don't. Okay. Cargo new lib. String macros. Yep, that's fine. It's a little bit sad, but that's fine. And then in here, we're gonna basically take all of it and put it into string macros source librs. And then in our cargo toml, we're gonna grab all of this, put it into here. And then in here, this keeps the proc macro. This loses the proc macro. And then in here, we're gonna depend on string macros, where path is string macros. That's really, really sad, but it's, I think, how we can do that. And then in source lib, we're gonna say pub use string macros star, like that. What do you mean? Everything in here should be used. Oh, but we have other proc macros defined in here, which is not how you do that. And then can we just cargo add proc macro? Like, is there a way for me to like access this proc macro stuff? And I can't get the inner here. Yeah, macros as libraries is kind of weird. So what does he do here? Yeah, he just... So he just doesn't use proc macro stuff in here. Which is weird. Who is looking for token stream? You is looking for token stream. You can be a token stream too. I think that's fine. Which means you're a parse too. Although no, even this doesn't matter. So you can go away. You can go away. So now the only issue is getting the call site. And since we don't have access to the inner span, like span literally just holds proc macro span. Wait, there is a local file, but it needs a feature. Cargo add sin. Oh, no, that's from proc macro 2. Proc macro 2. Features span locations. Go away. Beautiful. Okay. So we're here. Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic. But wait, how do we get this map from here? No, from here. This is so confusing. Is there any, like, proc macro as library? Russ. Yeah, none of this is useful. Can we skip the library aspect for a minute? I mean, we need to, so we still need to expose this macro, literally just macro type. So we do need to have a library of some kind. So it's interesting. He said, or the documentation here says that this collect call must be in the same crate that defines the plugin type. This macro does not run anything, so it places it outside of any function body. But it does not say that this has to be in there as well. But I don't think we can... So, like, here's a question. Can I do... Oh, I guess we already have it in here. Let's clean this up a little bit for the stuff that we don't need. Although, you know what I really want to do? Probably should commit so we don't lose anything on accident. What do we have? No, you know what? I think we're good. I don't think we need to commit. That's fine. Right, so in here we're not going to do this, which means it doesn't know what macro is. Inner can stay. Everything else can stay. This is going to be wrong. Input here. Can stay. I think everything here can stay. And then in source lib, input goes away. Like all of this stuff goes away. We literally just end up with this. And then in this cargo toml, the issue is that now we need to have a dependency on string macros, which is going to make this a cyclic dependency. So I can't like cargo R. That. Yep. So the way that we can get around that, and it's kind of awful. Cargo new lib string macros common. Source lib to string macros common source lib. And then same thing with the cargo toml. String macros common. Actually, let's open this guy, which is literally just going to be pub use string macros common macro. And if we go to the toml, we also need to depend on common, which is common. And then the toml here in the macros crate can depend on common, which is this guy, and then the macros, the common doesn't need to depend on anything. Okay. No matching, right, in here this needs to be called, common. Failed to load source for dependency macros. We don't need that anymore. Okay, it's building. We're close. Macros lib. Use string macros common this. And this needs to be pub. Okay, we're much closer. Do we have a repeat definition? Oh, we do. Yeah, so this entire crate is just exposing things from other crates. But holy shit, it worked. What the hell? Really? That's crazy. Okay, so theoretically, in this example, we can use inventory, submit, and let's create a macro which will just say hello. Like this. So it will say format. Like we'll literally just have it be okay, format hello s. 0. And then here we're gonna say macro from string macros new hello. Cannot call non-const associated function. Oh, does it need to be const? I think that's okay. Because it does just take a function pointer. And then in here we should be able to say upper hello Bob. Which doesn't work. Okay. So let's see. So in the macros lib, this is where we actually use this iterator. I would like to say macros, all macros. and then just say like pub fn all macros. Yeah, that's fine. And then this will return an impl. Actually, no, this can literally just return a hash map of static stir to this. And then this is going to be hash map from iter dot map m like that into iter like that. Beautiful. And then this is, yeah, this is a complex type. Let's do type macro body in here. Is this again? Just to keep it relatively simple. Okay. You guys can go away, I guess. No, you can't. What? You guys can go away. And then now we can say all macros is what this is. And I guess macros here is redundant. So all. Failed to resolve. What? Oh, it was called macro. Okay, and then if I debug map, unknown macro type. So the map is empty, which means that somehow I feel like I might be using this inventory crate a little bit wrong. So let's see this again. Now, any crate with access to the flag type can register flags as a plugin. Plugins can be registered by the same crate that declares the plugin type, or by any downstream crate. The submit macro does not run anything explicit outside of function body. In particular, note that submit invocations across all source files linked in your application will take effect simultaneously. Submit invocation is not a statement that needs to be called from main in order to execute. Oh, wait, I'm being stupid. This doesn't go in here. This goes into a separate crate. Okay. Yeah. This needs to go into a separate, like, dedicated crate. I don't know what the correct structure for that quite is, but we're gonna say cargo new bin lib string macros test. String macros test cargo toml, and then in here we're gonna say lib proc macro is true, and then in here we're gonna have proc macro hello, or I guess so here is where we're gonna basically put this thing, and like in reality this doesn't even need to have the proc macro. So the cargo add inventory, and we in the toml, not that toml, in this toml we say string macros. Then we cargo. I mean, that's not going to do anything. But if we go to example, like that, then finally in here, no, not that. In here we can use hello. Use of undeclared type macro. In the lib on this guy. This is getting kind of confusing, but I think we're getting super, super close. Oh my god. Examples. This. Import that. So it says unknown macro type. Fuck, the map is still empty. What is the issue? Because that one should have worked. Like, so if I go to the source lib in here, so we submit the macro, and then within thing we iterate over the plugins. Collect call must be in the same crate that defines the plugin type. This macro does not run anything, so it takes place out of the function body. So if we go to common, that's where we have the collect. Yeah, we don't have it anywhere else. Inventory. Where do we use this? So we use it in source lib to submit. We use it in one of the examples to submit, although that one doesn't take effect. Pretty sure examples are treated as a separate crate. I'm pretty sure. I mean, yeah, they would have to be for the proc macros to work. So that should be fine. Yeah, the structure here is looking not very nice. But so this should be a separate crate from this, which is where the proc macro for hello was implemented. Right? Yeah, that seems correct. Okay, let's go a little bit absurd with this. This is not a proc macro anymore. This is now a binary. And so we're going to say move string macros test to lib to be main. What? Source. Okay. And then in here we have an FN, I guess this is the example. Unknown macro type. So it's still not happy with that. Okay, here's what I think we're gonna do. I think we're gonna wrap it up for today because it's been 3 hours. And I'll see if I can fix this like separately. And yeah, we'll see. But I guess for now, let's clean this up just a little bit. Test string macros test and string macros test 2. We can delete both of those. They're not important. Let's make their crates. I think that's a common pattern. And move. Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's also just say move string macros common to be common. Move string macros and then in our cargo uncommon cargo toml, this is called common now, and we don't actually care about any of this. And then in macros, we've got toml. This is just called macros now. This is called common. And then in the lib, we need to update the import. This needs to be that. This needs to be that. That one's fine. Macros needs to be that. Cargo B in this. We now need to call. Why am I in here? Toml. We now need to call this that. Same thing here. Cargo B. Okay. Perfect. Let's create a repository for this. New repository. We'll call this string macros because naming is hard. A library for procedural proc macro. And library for parsing, for handling macros that resolve to string literals. Sure. Good enough. Do that. Do that. And we're here. Oh, there's still no readme. That's fine. I'll add a readme at some point in the future too. But that can now be accessed from there. Yeah. That's gonna be all. Oh, I did recently create a YouTube because somebody mentioned that yesterday, where I threw some of my like VODs. VODs. And I'll put this one in there in a little bit. But yeah, so that is it for today. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you next time.